Enough with the nonsense. This is a video for those who want to advance in their learning of witchcraft. The real 3 types of witchcraft as recognized by the book Drawing Down the Moon, academically reviewed history. I am Francisco, a Neopagan witch, and these are the 3 types of witches. We know there's always been witches, but they weren't always bad. The classical witch, also known as cunning folk, is that who practices low magic or folk magic. Their beliefs and superstitions come from working the farm and the field, being around nature. They find things in the environment and use them for their rituals. No complex rituals, no sacred texts. This is what you would call your green witch or kitchen witch. Low magic is about gathering herbs, brewing potions, crafting amulets with them. You pass this information down from generation to generation. On the other end of the spectrum, you will have the high magic. High magicians do not call themselves witches, and they started as secret societies of men, mostly men, who had initiation rituals and very complex sacred systems. They don't work with the nature, but with deities and symbolism. But let's go back to the classical witches. We are talking about village healers and shamans who work and pass their tradition, not necessarily calling it witchcraft. They didn't have any sacred books, so they were not a religion. Eventually they became persecuted, so had to blend in with other practices such as high and ceremonial magic. So why were witches persecuted if they were healers and shamans? What's wrong with that? This brings us to the second type of witch, the diabolic witch or the Gothic witch. That's the stereotypical character we see in TVs and movies with a long nose, flies in a broom, and does all sorts of evil. When the Inquisition started, the church began persecuting pagans and heretics, those who practiced magic outside of these secret societies. So this character of the bad witch was created by the church as a reverse form of Roman Catholicism. It includes pacts with the devil, devouring of babies, and all sorts of propaganda that was used during the Inquisition. Religion is magic sanctioned by authority. It was easy for the church to spread this belief in bad witches because the printing press just started rolling, and some of the first books were about this particular topic. Also, the plagues and wars in Europe made it easy for people to find a scapegoat, and that were the Satanic witches. The word Gothic means of or relating to a style of fiction characterized by the use of desolate or remote settings and macabre, mysterious or violent incidents. Today, there are neo-Gothic witches that are inspired by that, but they still work with Christian concepts like Satan, Lucifer, angels, demons. Satanists like Anton LaVey are also neo-Gothic because they descend from this idea of witchcraft created by Christianity. An interesting quote from the book Drawing Down the Moon is, "A few modern Satanists seem to be misplaced neo-pagans who have not been able to get beyond Christian terminology and symbolism." And this brings us to the third type of witch, the Neopagan witch. They are a hybrid of the classical witch that practices low magic, natural magic, but with some mythology on top and some rituals that come from high magic. There was an old religion, the underground society of indigenous European shamans and witches. These ancient pagans survived by secretly keeping their religion intact. Only this didn't happen. Most historians agree that this was very unlikely. Most traditions from families became diluted and contaminated with other religions and with other types of magic. The Reconstructionist movements of the early 20th centuries are what paved the way for Wicca. Gerald Gardner was the man who started what would later be known as Wicca, and he took material from any source that didn't run too fast to get away, according to our book. In 1986, Wicca was recognized as an official religion in the United States. I made a different video on the difference between Neopaganism and Wicca, and you can watch that to learn more. Most Neopagan witches are polytheistic, they mix high and low magic, they are diverse and tolerant of others, and they worship the earth and the cycles of nature. All of these groups can be considered Neopagan. The Goddess movement, Heathenry, Druidry, New Age, LGBTQ, Wicca, and other Wiccan branches. There is a lot of overlap between the Neopagan witch and the classical witch because one draws inspiration from the other. Also, classical witchcraft evolved to become Neopagan witchcraft. Here you can see how complex the history of Western witchcraft is. I have made a separate video where I talk about drawing down the moon, and you can learn more there or visit spellsafe.com for courses. The book also mentions other types of witches like feminist witchcraft and ethnic witchcraft, but I thought those can be included in the three types of witchcraft or outside of them, since we're talking about Western witchcraft here. I am Francisco, and if you like the video, leave a comment below or put like and subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Blessed be.